let's start recording, because I am on a intense and long ongoing mission to catch up with fucking Helluva Boss before the next episode. Like, the next episode comes out apparently in October, so it's not like I was stressed for time to get this done, but I wanted to get it done so that I can be caught up with everyone else and maybe spend some time, you know, recording other reactions in between my downtime when I have it. That would be lovely. Wouldn't that be nice? So, after going for 12 hours straight yesterday to record all of the, since you're watching this on YouTube right now, record all of the previous reactions you've seen, I'm just finishing it off with like a small, probably no more than 6 hours long stream today, where we'll do Apology Tour and Mission Antarctica. Starting with Apology Tour, which, again, like, I'm not enmeshed in any kind of Helluva Boss fandom thing. Like, it sort of crosses my dashboard on Tumblr, like ships passing in the night every once in a while. Like, I sort of like, oh, there's like, and also on TikTok, weirdly, TikTok seems to have sussed out that I know what Helluva Boss is. And so every once in a while, there'll be like these discourse TikToks that pop up on my For You page over there. It's like, this thing of that thing, like people being very, very angry at one another over things which it seems to me probably aren't worth getting that upset about. So I have very little idea about what the general state of the discourse is or whatever. But I do know that this episode ignited a bunch of everything. Like, people got real in their discourse about this one for some reason. So I'm curious to see what would have happened there. Let's see. For those wondering, by the way, I can't see chat right now, so whatever they're saying, they can't spoil me, so don't worry about that.
Hello, Stolas. You haven't been answering my text, and I sent you a bunch of funny shit, so what gives?
I was hoping my lack of ha-has in response to the photos you sent would be an indicator I didn't want to talk right now.
Oh, come on, Stolas. We just had a rough night. Besides, you always want to hear from me.
Blitz, what is it you want?
I want to feel like I'm earning my way to Earth. Okay, so get your tight, feathered ass out of that lawn chair and into the bedroom so I can fuck it.
Yeah, so we're still here, right? Like, Blitz still only really has that one drum that he beats, right? I want to feel like I'm earning my way to Earth, like, and he's not being honest about what he wants right now because he doesn't know. Like, he doesn't fully understand it either. But like we talked about in Full Moon, the book, the relationship, that thing that matters to him, but he clearly hasn't quite sussed out why or how it matters to him. And so, like, yeah. And at the end of the last confrontation, he felt like he hurt Stolas, which is something that again surprises him because it just doesn't enter his mind that Stolas can be hurt, that Blitz has that kind of emotional hold over him. So clearly he's trying to, like, he's still on that, right? Like, I want to restore the normalcy, right? Like, we had a normal situation that I'd gotten used to that was stable. I want to, please let us get back to the normal situation. I want to get back to it. I want that thing to be there again. Because that's where he felt any degree of secure, right? And now that Stolas is pretty done, at least for the moment, and quite understandably so, given how the last night went, Blitz is having some trouble respecting that boundary, right? Because, like, regardless of how you feel about the conversation at the end of Full Moon, like, however well it went or however fucked up it went, when Stolas says, I don't want to talk right now, that's like, yeah, no, Blitz, it's that means you have to not bother him right now. I'm sorry. You can't, like, much in the same way that like one of Stolas' mistakes was sort of making a unilateral declaration about the state of their relationship without any of Blitz's input or without giving him any time to process, is like, yeah, Blitz, much in the same way. It's like, you can't just unilaterally decide that Stolas wants to talk to you. That's not how it works. These poor goobers, like, and like, again, from Stolas' perspective, right? Yeah, like, last time he was like, I want you to stay with me because you want to, and Blitz's response to that was like, Oh, right. You want to, right. I will role play that I want to stay with you. I will role play romantic interest in you because that's what gets you off, right? It's like, so Blitz shows up now and it's like, yeah, no, I'm still trying to fuck. And it's like, oh God, like, it's understandable that he's not super enthusiastic about that. Because from his perspective, Blitz, like, said, oh yeah, I will never love you, but I'm happy to fuck you. And it's like, oh my God.
What is it you want?
I want to feel like I'm earning my way to Earth.
Right. I want to feel like I'm earning my way to Earth, right? I don't want to feel like I'm worthless. Like, it's that thing, they're trying to tell each other how they feel, but neither of them have the language to comprehend one another. It's so... Oh my God.
To Earth. Okay, so get your tight feathered ass out of that lawn chair and into the bedroom so I can fuck it.
Wow. Poetry. I'm sure such a statement would have had me swooning by now.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that was a shitty way for me to say it, but you usually like it when I talk all dirty and fucky and shit. Come on, we don't do words. We do sex.
As shocking as this might seem, Blitz, I don't think I'm in the mood to do sex with you. In fact, I don't think I'm even in the mood to do words with you. So how about you respect that?
Oh, come on, Stolas. You can't mean that.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. I'm afraid. So this is the other side of it, right? This is the goddamn text conversations again, right? Like, Blitz is like, I want this to be simple. I don't want this to be complicated. No feelings. I don't know how to deal with complicated. I don't know how to deal with feelings. And Stolas is like, well, all I have is feelings. All I have is complicated. And Blitz is like, what? Like, he doesn't... Oh, my God.
Come on, we don't do words. We do...
And this is, like, in his clumsy and ill-considered way, this is Blitz trying to reach out, right? This is Blitz trying to reestablish some kind of connection. But it just doesn't work, man.
Do sex.
As shocking as this might seem, Blitz, I don't think I'm in the mood to do sex with you. In fact, I don't think I'm even in the mood to do words with you. So how about you respect that?
Oh.
And the thing is, like, if Blitz could wait, right? Okay, this, like, the conversation at the end of Full Moon went real bad. Let's pull back from things. Let's give everyone a bunch of time apart, so everyone can sort of sort through their feelings. Like, maybe there would be a chance that, like, when they next have a conversation, it will be good. But this feels a lot like he's there, like, the next day-ish. Maybe not the next day, but it feels like he's there real soon after. And probably without doing any kind of outreach beforehand. Right? It's not like, hey, can we talk in a text message? More like... Stolas is by the pool, and then Blitz just climbs over the wall. Oh, that's what it feels like, anyway.
Oh, come on, Stolas. You can't mean that. You always love seeing this.
Seeing you right now is hard. I don't want to feel worse than I already do. It's bad enough I got an invite to this anti-Blitzo party, an honorary invite for being your freshest ex.
Anti-Blitzo party? Who the fuck's behind this?
Oh, it's entirely immature. I'd never indulge this nonsense. It's silly.
Real silly. Real fucking classy.
Kind of them to invite me, though.
Yeah. You can see, like... you can see Stolas with that little, like... Oh, I'd never indulge in that sort of thing. It's silly. But then there's the little messy bitch part of him. Like, oh, this bothers Blitz. Like, there's a little bit of pettiness there, right? There's a little bit of that, like, the temptation all of a sudden.
Them to invite me, though. It might be rude not to make an appearance.
See. Stolas, congrats. Blitz has finally officially broken your fucking heart. It would be my pleasure to extend an honorary invite for being his freshest ex to our Halloween party in the human world for closure and to indulge in our shared hatred for that miserable fuckboy. Hope to see you there, Verosika Mayday, of course.
Appearance.
Verosika! Of course, that fucking bitch.
I will say, it's rather concerning you have an entire party devoted to hating you, though, Blitz.
Oh, please, everyone hates me for shitty reasons. In the end, everyone's just bitter they couldn't tie this ass down.
Blitz. He does it again, right? Like, he reaches for that every time to dismantle tension and vulnerability, right? Like, vulnerability, we can't really handle that for too long at a time, so we kind of have to just... And again, because he's trying to please Stolas, right? Like, he thinks this is the imp that Stolas wants, right? He thinks, like, Mr. Big Dick Slinging fuckboy, confident about everything, like, totally cool. He thinks that's what Stolas wants, what Stolas is attracted to. And he's just not getting the signal that that's not working.
I'm too much imp to simp.
You really think that's the reason?
Yes, sir. They couldn't handle that I moved on.
We know he's lying, right? We know he's lying. Because he hasn't moved on. Because we saw that in Truth Seekers. He hasn't moved on from any of it. It's all sticking to him. Like mud and grease and glue. It is sticking to him. So this is just cope. This is fully denial. It's just like, I don't have feelings. Like, that's the other thing also, right? This is Blitz being like, I don't have feelings. I can't be hurt. Like, no one can do anything to me that makes me upset. I don't have a heart that can be broken, right? It's like, yes, you do. God, you have so much heart that can be broken. It's like on the, it was on your forehead. It was on your forehead in the fucking drug dream. Oh my God.
Oh. So you're used to being the one who crushes others' feelings, hmm?
If by crushes others' feelings you mean in shit before it gets serious, then bingo, I'm doing everyone a favor because relationships are boring.
And this is also like the two of them, because they're having a fight, right? Like, this is what where Blitz was at the end of a full moon, was like, let's go, let's have a fight, right? Let's lash out at each other, right? Because that's how the only way he knows how to fucking resolve a conflict. So that's where he is now.
Oh yes, very boring. So what are you doing here then?
Waiting for you to realize how good an angry fuck would be right now.
Right? Let's have a conflict. Let's have a fight. Right? Because he doesn't... All he had to do, really, was show up and be vulnerable with Stolas. Like, to let Stolas into his feelings. And I think Bird Boy here would have a real hard time staying mad at him. Like, maybe, again, you should maybe have given it, like, some weeks, a month, I don't know, some time. But, like, all he really had to do was show up and be vulnerable. But he doesn't know how. Like, he does not have that skill set.
Get out. Right now.
What?
I'm tired of this. I'm uncomfortable with how you're speaking to me now.
Oh, come on, Stolas. You can't tell me this isn't a fantasy of yours. You want me to show your...
Again, it's like Blitz is so deep in denial, right? Like, he's still on that. This has to be a fantasy. This has to be a role play. This has to be because the only thing he could possibly want me for is the dick. It has to be a role play, right? Like, what else could this possibly be, right? Like, you can't actually give a shit about my feelings. This has to be some kind of fucking kink thing. So let's dispense with the bullshit and just do the only thing I'm good for, right? Like, let me please do the only thing I believe I can possibly be good for. Please, for the love of God. And if you're not gonna let me do that, I'm gonna get angry because I'm scared. Right?
Your rich, princey ass, what a real fucking is.
Stop it.
Ha! I'm right, aren't I? You get off to getting plowed by people you look down on.
I don't look down on you. How many times do I... When have I ever...
Mm-hmm. And again, Stolas, it's like, no, I know you don't know Stolas. I know you don't get it. I know you don't understand. But I'm sorry, but you're privileged as, like, there are some things in there. Like, for example, you're in a bad place with Blitz last time, right? Like, you're in a bad place with him. The relationship isn't going anywhere. He's not listening to you. He's not communicating. You're not getting anything. Of course you're desperate. But the thing you reach for is, oh, okay, I'm going to go to my rich friends. I'm gonna get like a powerful trinket artifact, and then I'm gonna unilaterally decide to change everything about our relationship without consulting him, right? And like the relationship started with you, like, and it's the thing, right? It's that whole miscommunication scene at the party when they first meet after so many years, right? Where Stolas is reaching for the only language he has to comprehend what's going on, which is like romance, tawdry romance novels and bodice rippers, right? Like that's sort of all he has. And then Blitz ends up, oh, cool, I can, okay, right? Like I can be used for something by this rich guy. This is like, of course Blitz feels looked down upon. Like, of course he does. Again, not because you were trying to, but it's you, like, your virgin ass. I mean, not virgin, but like, you know, like, he had never made love before, right? Like, your inexperienced little first-time ass is like, you didn't have the wherewithal to comprehend quite exactly what the dynamics of the relationship were that you were entering into there, buddy.
You speak just like that vile striker friend of yours, the one who tried to kill me and you couldn't be bothered to come help me. Remember him?
Hey, look, I do not sound like... and I didn't know he was capable...
I don't sound like him. Well, you do a little bit, right? Because, like, Stryker speaks to that same resentment and anxiety, right? And it's like, I didn't know he was capable of hurting you. You should have finished that sentence, Blitz. Like, you should maybe have expressed... Again, it's that thing of... What Blitz has in his head is this thing of, like, well, he can't be vulnerable to me, right? He can't... I can't hurt him because of... He's the... Stolas, he's the blue blood with all of the power and all of the leverage and all of the... And I'm just a stupid little worthless imp from nowhere, so I can't hurt him. I can't be capable of that. I can't have value enough to possibly cause harm to him. So if maybe you could express that that's the feeling you have inside of you, like that's the fear and the anxiety, but that would require you to trust him, but you don't trust him, right? Because, like, you don't...
Well, I stopped him the first time, didn't I?
The first time?
Yeah, Oh. Oops. No, who said that?
You knew someone was trying to assassinate me?
Again, Stolas, to be fair, your wife was yelling it directly at you into the phone over breakfast. Like, directly into your face. At breakfast. It's... oblivious little fool. Like, the obliviousness that Stolas has is, like, a major character flaw in him.
No, I stopped him. And I really didn't think you could actually get hurt. You're immortal and shit. You're a fucking prince. If me and my team could kick that guy's ass that easily, then I'm sure you'd have no problem.
I suppose you are right. Silly me. It's not an imp's place to protect a Goetia, is it?
And there it is. Took you long enough.
That's all you were waiting for, wasn't it? For me to play into this idea you have of me, that I'm this prince who thinks he's so much better than you. Well, I don't. Why would I allow everyone to see how much I like you, how I've tried so fucking hard to spend time with you, to support you? You don't owe me those things, but you can't just ignore all that.
You know, Stolas, I spent the entirety of this morning listening to love ballads. And that was still the...
And... yeah, boy.
the gayest thing I've heard all day!
Do you feel any kind of remorse for what you do? Have you ever even apologized once in your life?
Oh, you think I can't apologize? For what? You want me to be like, oh, sorry, this entire time I assumed the worst because I was convinced a prince could never love someone like me, and I've let my self-hatred stop me from apologizing to anyone I could never care about?
Well, yes, that.
Well, fuck you! I can sorry the fuck out of people, just you watch! I sorried Fizz so hard he cried! And I can sorry more people, everyone but you, because I don't owe you dick! Everyone but you.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Jeez, these fucking guys, honestly. Because, like, it's that... Right? Like, Blitz says it outright. Like, he says it. Like, I don't need to fucking explain it, right? Like, he says it outright. You want me to be like, sorry, this entire time I was assumed the worst because I was convinced the prince could never love someone like me, and I've let my self-hatred stop me from apologizing to anyone I could ever care about, right? Yep, that's spelling it out very literally, thank you very much. And it's like, but he can't be vulnerable with it, right? The only place he can go to where he can reach the capacity to even admit that out loud is anger, right? It's the only thing he has. Is like, again, end of full moon, he's like, let's fucking go, let's have a fight, because Blitz can't access his feelings. He can't access them unless it's a fight, right? Like, unless it's a battle, unless something pushes him to it. And so instead of expressing that as an actual apology, he expresses it as an accusation. He expresses it as an insult. He throws it in Stolas' face. Right? Which, like, oh my god. Right? And it's the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Blitz assumed the worst, right? Like, he assumed, I can't be loved. No one could possibly love me. I am not lovable. I don't deserve love. I am not capable of love. And there isn't going to be a loving relationship in my life ever. That simply isn't going to happen. And so therefore, if there seems to be a loving relationship possible in my life and I really, really want it, well, the smart thing for me to do is to intensely sabotage it. Like, to just, because it's gonna go wrong. I'm gonna fuck it up. That's how it's gonna happen. So instead of me sitting here and being in this uncertain place where things seem good and happiness might be possible and just waiting for everything to go wrong, no. Here's the smart thing. I'm a smart guy. I know how to defend my own heart. I'm gonna force the issue. I'm going to reach for anger. I'm going to reach for resentment. I'm going to reach for all the things that are going to make this relationship fall apart as fast as possible so that I can be really angry and resentful of the partners who leave me, and also so that can confirm that I am, like, so instead of having to face the uncertainty and fear and possibility of being proven wrong, that maybe I am worthy of love, that maybe it is possible to, like, for me to have some kind of happy relationship. That's scary. Instead of doing that, let's return to the certainty that I'm an unlovable piece of shit and I'll be alone forever. Right? And that's miserable, but I know that place. That's a comfortable place for me to be, because I'm familiar with it. I've been here a million times before, and I'm gonna stay here forever anyway, because better things aren't possible, so let's just go. Let's just sabotage it, right? So instead of reaching for vulnerability, instead of reaching for... right? Like... Stolas says, yes, that's the thing I wanted you to express. It's like, wait, what? I don't understand. That's actually what you wanted? Well, fuck you! Right? He reaches for more anger, more resentment, more conflict, more chaos. Because because this kind of stability of being loved by someone is fucking scary. But that's what he came here for, right? Like, that's what he came here for at the fuck. That's why this whole conversation started, is Blitz came running to Stolas, begging for a restoration of stability. Begging for a restoration. Like, let's just go back to the way that things were, because things are different now, and that scares me. Things are different now. I'm scared. I don't know how to handle that. Please let me go back to the situation where I had some kind of foothold, because I knew that I was just a worthless fuck toy for you that you didn't care about. Good. That lines up with my self-image. That lines up with my understanding of what things are possible. I would like that to come back, please, so I don't have to be scared anymore. And Stolas isn't willing to go there with him, right? Understandably, like he shouldn't be. Stolas shouldn't go there with him. That's a bad place to go to. So, like, Stolas is making the right choices in this scene, in the sense of, like, he's not indulging Blitz's worst impulses, right? He's not allowing Blitz to either shout or conflict his way out of the actual issue that's at stake, and he's not allowing Blitz to regress the relationship backwards. Right, so those are the right choices, but then also, like, again, Stolas, Captain Inexperience, right? He's still, like, Stolas tries the thing that, like, he feels that you're supposed to do, right? He's trying to communicate with Blitz openly. He's begging, like, you can see it in his body language, right? Like the way that he's leaning forwards. He's holding his hand over his heart, right? Over his chest. Like, pouring out his feelings, trying to get to this imp to be vulnerable, right? And Blitz just cannot conceive that that's what we're doing, right? Because that's Blitz is like, that's not what I asked you to do. I asked you to take us back to the safe place in the relationship where we were, and now you keep trying to move it forward. You keep insisting on having these emotion conversations with me that I don't know how to have, and that makes me angry. That makes me upset that you're not willing to go back with me to the place where we were. So come on, no. You can't tell me this isn't a fantasy of yours. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, please, for the love of God, tell me that this is a fantasy of yours. Please tell me that, because that's what I understand, right? But Blitz, again, he isn't capable of pleading. He isn't really capable of begging, because he's here to have a fight, right? He's not capable of the vulnerability right now. So this is the guy begging, right? Like, this is the guy begging to understand what the fuck is going on, but in the worst language, like, in the worst way. In a way, like, of course Stolas doesn't get it. We sit here from an omniscient perspective, like, seeing these two people from the outside. The two of them are so deep in their respective mind palaces, right? Like, so deep in like, wearing shades and glasses in all kinds of different colors, entirely based on, like, their relationships. It's grim. You don't owe me those things, but you can't just ignore all that. And, like, the face journey again with Blitz here, right? Stolas says these things, and Blitz is like, it's getting through to him a little bit, and he doesn't like that, right? Stolas says this, it gets through to him, it touches his feelings, and he doesn't like it. Because that's scary, right? You can't just ignore all that. And he's like, well, yes, I can, because I have to, right? Because that's vulnerable. That sort of opens for the possibility that Blitz has been wrong this whole time also, which is uncomfortable. Do you feel any kind of remorse for what you do? Yeah, he feels nothing but remorse. Nothing but that. It's the whole time. Nothing but he is like 87% regret. Just like filling him up from feet to crown. Of course he feels remorse constantly, but he doesn't know what to do with it. I do like the way they're using the tail here.
Have you ever even apologized once in your life?
Oh, you
Like the little whip sounds on the tail, because like the vibrating, the way that he's barely holding back all of this pain and all of like he is in the classical sense of the term psychologically triggered right now, right? Right? Not helped at all by the fucking like, speaking of things like that trigger him and that bring him back to his worst self, this isn't helping either, right? This literal physical reminder of everyone he has ever hurt in his life, of every relationship he has ever fucked up in his life. It's like, hey, Blitz, remember how you're a piece of shit and you're worthless and you're gonna hurt everyone and you're always gonna be alone and you can't actually be in a loving relationship? Here's a little trinket to remind you. Yeah, here's just a little lovely little object, just like physically embodying all of the misery and all the pain and every fuck up you've ever done in your life. Have this. Go stand and read that, and then try to have a reasonable, emotional, vulnerable conversation with the man who wanted to be a boyfriend, right? Could you do that? Could you do that? I couldn't. Like, I don't think I'd be very emotionally stable after reading something like that. I think I'd be a little fucked up, actually. Oh my god. Right? Because Blitz is wrong, right? He's wrong in this scene. The way he's handling it is wrong. All of the repression is dumb, right? Like, his desperation not to be available for pain, not to be available for vulnerability is wrong, right? Of course Stolas isn't reacting well to any of this, because Blitz keeps trying to have a fight with him. And it is unfair. Like, it's so unfair. Like, that is unfair to Blitz, right? Like, because no one should have that done to them. Like, the fucking invitation, that's, like, not in the sense of, like, Blitz doesn't deserve, like, his exes don't deserve to carry resentment for him. They do, but, like, maybe not that. Maybe you don't do that to a person. And it's very unfair to Stolas, because Stolas now, because Blitz is there, right? Like, Blitz is back in being Captain Fuckboy, right? And you can see that, like, you can almost see how he switches, right? Like, he reads the invitation. Because, like, we open with, like, Blitz comes on very strong with all the fucking, I know how to do sex at you real good. That's the only value I have. And, like, here, he's not angry yet, right? And that's, like, very much the eyes are used to express that with Blitz. He's still confused, right? He's still unsure, uncertain. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to get to Stolas. It's like, here, he's willing to concede, right? Okay, yeah, no, that was a shitty way for me to say it, but usually you normally like this. Why don't you like this anymore? Why isn't the normality working with me? We don't do words, we do sex. Like, right? It's like, here he's still trying to be conciliatory. He's still sort of trying to, have I done something wrong? Can I do something better? But the moment he sees that fucking invitation, right? There, the darkening and the thickening of the eyes. That's when the fuckboy comes out, right? Like, that's when Blitz the heartbreaker, Blitz the guy who doesn't care about relationships, Blitz the guy who doesn't love anyone and isn't vulnerable, and I don't care about them anymore, and fuck you. Like, all the anger, all the resentment, all the, like, he switches completely. And this is when it becomes nothing but, you know, also, still, like, Stolas, she was yelling it into your face on the phone she wasn't being subtle. You can't say you didn't. You knew someone was trying to assassinate you. How didn't you? How did you not know? How could you possibly be surprised? Which, again, like, that sort of goes back to the criticism that I have had, like, ages and ages and ages ago. It is weird that Stella was shouting about, like, wanting her husband murdered at the dinner table into his face directly, and Stolas just seemed to not be paying attention to it. I thought it was a joke about, oh yeah, this is just what's normal for them. They're sort of trying, I mean, it's something that has to be addressed at some point. Like, how the fuck was Stolas so willfully ignorant about that? Because now they've brought it up again, right? Like, now they've sort of made it a point of conflict, right? They do need to explain at some point how the like, because like there are reasonable explanations. Like, Stolas was so used to Stella shouting abuse and screaming about assassinations into the phone because that's what she does all day, because of that's Goetia stuff. Like, Goetia's scream about having people they don't like assassinated at, like, every 2 minutes. That's normal for like that would sort of explain it a little bit, but it is still a thing of, like, at some point Stolas is upset at Blitz not telling him someone was trying to kill him, does need to be turned towards anger towards the person who actually tried to kill him, right? Stolas is displacing some anger at Stryker here towards Blitz instead in a way that's not also not really fair. But again, if someone had tried to murder me, I don't know that I would be very, like, sensible and smart about what I did with the feelings I have about that. If I found out someone knew that someone was trying to have me assassinated and didn't tell me, even if I was being a dumb dipshit idiot by not realizing it myself, I don't think I'd handle that very well. I don't know. That seems like a lot to handle for a person. Right? And here Stolas makes the mistake of playing along. Like, because Blitz keeps... God, I could talk about this for ages, couldn't I? Because, again, what Blitz is trying to express here is like, I didn't know you could get hurt. I didn't know someone could hurt you. I didn't know I could hurt you. I don't understand how I can possibly hurt you. I don't understand why you care about me. You're immortal and shit. You're a fucking prince, right? Like, how can this be difficult for you? It can't be difficult for you. You have everything. You have your shit together. Like, you're right. So how is any of this happening? And Stolas doesn't hear that. All he hears is Blitz trying to reduce him down to his class position, right? Like, Blitz being like, "You're a prince, right? You're not a person like me." And the trouble with playing along with that is, there we go. Now I have ammo, right? Like, now I have ammo for my resentment. Now I can justify being angry with him and say, fuck him. He hurt me, right? I didn't hurt him. He hurt me because of, he's a prince and fuck him, right? And again, that consistent thing. Stolas is the hand actor, right? Lovely gesture. I really like the asynchronous rotation thing he does with his hands. And doing that with some object work as well with the book is lovely. Like, that's a difficult thing to do. Same thing here, right? When Stolas tries to, like, pour out his heart and express, he's doing so much of that with his hands as well, right? The hand in front of the chest, like the hand reaching out, pushing towards Blitz. Like, his beating heart, trying to get it across to him. These silly little fools. Right? It's so sad because he's being honest here, right? Because he has it has to be a fight. He has to be angry before he can get here, before he can even approach vulnerability. But at this point, he has poisoned the well so badly that, like, that's an apology that might have worked if you'd opened with it, Blitz. Like, if that had been, like sort of, like, the second sentence out of your mouth, and you'd said it, like, with something that sounds like sincerity instead of just anger and accusation, that might have worked. Like, that might have set you on the path to reconciliation. But because the well is poisoned, because it's already gone really bad.
Sorry, more people, everyone but you, because I don't owe you dick. Everyone but you.
That's also a good line, right? Like, I can say sorry to everyone but you because I care too much about you, right? Like I have kind of moved on from everyone else, but I can't be vulnerable with you. Because that's too close, that's too dangerous, that's too... Because I actually have feelings for you, so I can't say sorry, because that's scary. Oh, this dipshit. Let's see what happens next. I've 41 minutes spent on this.
I can totally apologize to the people I've fucked with. I mean, how many could there possibly be?
Moxie, question mark, annoying kid, southern bitch.
Yes?
Ow!
It's you.
Hey, Martha. Look, I know we killed you in the past, but I just wanted to say no hard feelings and offer this.
I do like that she's missing... Why is she missing the eye? You'd think that, like, the body would be restored when you go to hell, but that's a fun little callback. Hey, good for her.
Yeah, that's fucking right.
And see, Blitz is doing it again, right? He's being transactional again, right? It's like, oh, right, okay, apology. That means I do something for them, which I give them a fruit basket, or I say the right words, and I finger guns and a little note that says sorry. That's what an apology is, right? That's what it's a thing of like, you do a thing and then you exchange this thing for the service of, like, for the product. I put in these coins and then out of the vending machine falls forgiveness, right? That's what an apology is, right? Is it not a transaction? Is it not just something? Because again, apologies are vulnerable, but he doesn't know how to do vulnerability, so... That's what you were sending him? You were... Oh my god. That's what... I'm sorry, I had to put my head in my hands for a second there. You, you haven't been responding to my texts. You were sending him homophobic horse memes? Oh, gee, I wonder why... Yeah, no, I wonder why Stolas didn't want to talk to you. Ugh. Oh my god. I'm not saying the memes aren't funny. I'm just saying that's not... If you want Stolas... But again, if you wanted Stolas to be ready to have an emotion, like an actual honest conversation with you, those aren't the openers, but that's not what Blitz wanted, right? Like, Blitz didn't want him to be ready to have an open, honest conversation with him. He wanted him to be ready to either, like pretend nothing happened and return to normalcy, which Blitz would... Because he's an idiot, Blitz would have just accepted. It's like, oh, we're back to normal. Cool, good, that's fine. Then I'm gonna pretend nothing bad happened, right? This didn't happen. We're gonna repress it really hard, which is the irony of like, fucking like, you're deeper in the closet than Stolas is, Blitz. like, in terms of like being unable to live with pride. Yeah, no, it's like Stolas has you beat. He's substantially prouder of who he is than you are. Right, anyone but you. Aw. He's just living in the ruins. Aw. How the fuck did he swing that, by the way? Anyone but you, right? Like, oh, this is easy. This is like going around to all these people, no problem. No problem. That's easy. Being sorry to Stolas? Can't do that. That's hard. I mean, that's justified.
All right, and now on to the X's, who are all in one place. Yay. Hey, buddy, you know where 666 South Maple Avenue might be?
Down that way, demon dude!
Sick costume, bruh.
Hey, happy Halloween! Oh, looks like you missed some makeup there.
Thanks, it's my face.
Oh, Blitz, you, I mean, it's like, can't deny he's got game. Nice outfit, Stolas. You may be entitled to compensation. From who exactly? Like...
One day a year, the spirits can rise amongst the living, and it's spent celebrating mutual pettiness.
You're there, Stolas, aren't you?
Oh, what?
Oh, nothing. I was talking to myself.
Cool, man. I wish I was you.
Hello, freshest X! Stolas! How you doing, baby? You holding up okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I felt it rude not to stop by. I don't get invited out much, but I really shouldn't stay long.
Well, I'm glad you could make it, honey.
Well, this certainly beats the last Earth party I attended on Hallows Eve.
All hail the Demon Prince, Stolas.
I was told there would be cake.
Aw, that's a little Family Guy cutaway gag. Wow, Lois, this sure beats the last time I attended a party on Earth.
Speaking of cake, you want to slice it?
Oh!
I like to start at the neck. Or the dick. You're right. Nobody wants his dick anyway.
Yeah, like, Verosika has definitely gotten over him real well.
I think I'm content without slicing any of it.
Well, live it up, baby. You are with friends here. Fuck Blitzo in the fucking ass!
Wow, have I fucked this many people? Christ on a stick. I should start keeping count.
I didn't even get its name.
Sorry for the comment I made at your sister's wedding, though she did deserve it. She's a whore. Sorry for fucking your mom, though I thought it was your dad.
Hey!
He did it.
Way to go, Dennis. You fucking suck.
Yeah, you suck, Dennis.
So Stolas is getting a little bit of a lesson in resentment and heartbreak as well, right? I'm curious where he's gonna land on this. Because, like, I think Blitz is about to give him even more reasons to be pissed at him. That would be my expectation of what's about to happen, right? But there's certainly an instinctive revulsion from Stolas about centering your life so much on one guy who hurt you.
Now,
shit.
it's time to hear from the special new guest of honor of the night, Stolas! Get up here and say a few words.
No, I'm not really,
This is why I don't go to parties.
I really shouldn't.
Tell us all about your experience with Blitzo, the cock-sucking motherfucker! Come on, baby, speak from your heart. We all here know how you feel.
Are you... Is he about to sing? It feels like he's about to sing. The judge hates Blitzo.
I let you get too close. I let it go too far. Now I know, now I know, now I know exactly what you are.
Wait, Tex isn't one of Blitz's ex... Really? Huh.
I don't think you meant to hurt me, 'cause I don't think it meant a thing at all. At all, at all, at all. At all, at all, at all. At all, at
He's a motherfucker.
Cause darling, you're a thief, but you were mine to earn. What if I came on you strong? What if I read this so wrong? What if we just don't belong? All this what if, why makes me burn? Oh, I don't think you meant to hurt me. Cause I don't think you meant a thing at all.
We did it.
No, not at all. At all, at all, at all.
Oh boy. Right? It gets to him. He feels vulnerable. He feels sad. And then we reach for anger. Fuck, I can't be vulnerable. I have to reach for anger. I have to find a way to get angry at it. Because otherwise I have to sit with how I feel, and I don't like that. Because that's scary. Oh boy. Every time he has an opportunity to reach for anything other than anger and resentment, he, like, all those coping mechanisms, right? All of that survival instinct, all of that self-hatred just kicks into gear and says, no, fuck you. You don't get to, right? Like, you don't get to have feelings about this. You don't get to, like, feel stuff about this. You don't get to be sad. You don't get to be upset. You get to be angry and resentful and shitty, because that's who you are, right? And I do like the transition a lot, right? Because this is, like, the transition is we go into Stolas' headspace, right? We are no longer on the stage. Literally no longer on the stage at the party. Now we're inside Stolas' head, and he's not singing to the crowd, he's singing to himself, right? He is singing to himself, he's dealing with his own feelings, his own emotions about it. And of course, inside of Stolas' head, this is all happening on a stage against the backdrop of the cosmos with, like, draperies and, like, fog machines and lights. It's grand, it's cosmic in scale, it's operatic almost. Because Stolas, like, that's where he is. This is his first serious relationship he's ever had. He's approaching this with all of the emotional intensity of at first, like, a teenager who's in love for the very first time. So of course this is where he is. I do love the integration of, like, stage aesthetics, right? Like, that this is all, rather than, like, in Look My Way, where we're in, like, where we're staged in, like, the terms of, like, the literal cosmos. Here we're, like, it's stagecraft. It's all, like, rotating sets and things on strings. Right. And again, this is Stolas' perspective, right? Like, I think he's been reaching out and reaching out and reaching out and reaching out, waiting for Blitz to show him something, anything, any kind of indication that the feelings are mutual, right? And no matter how many times Blitz fails to show actual interest, like, Stolas just doesn't, like, his feelings won't go away. He keeps falling deeper in love, right? And this sequence is very good, because these are all images of Blitz, right? These are all, like, these are his images of Blitz, his picture of who Blitz is. And well, right? Because that's all Stolas perceives, because every time Blitz has started to feel attachment, emotional, like any kind of actual affection, emotional vulnerability towards Stolas, Blitz's reaction is to reach for that, right? Is to, no, I don't care, I don't have feelings, fuck you, no. Please look my way. Well, he keeps looking the other way, right? Like, Blitz won't look at Stolas, because looking at Stolas is where the pain is, right? Is where the fear is, the instability. And there's this thing, right? Like, it's his image of Blitz shattering, right? But Stolas, hopeless romantic that he is, maybe there's something for me to try and learn, right? Like, maybe is there some way to break through this? Like, did I do this wrong the first time? Did I approach this wrong? Did I come on too strong? Like, did I do was there something I could have done better, right? And like, yeah, you did come on a little too strong, Stolas. Like, that's not an inaccurate diagnosis of how your relationship started. Like, yeah, it was a little, like, you see him for the first time in 15 years, and like, you were the one who took it to the sexual place immediately. Something you weren't ready for. Something like you clearly didn't quite mean. You were just trying to be flirty, but then, you know, and you were trying to spite your wife, and you were trying to claim a little bit of like, have a little bit of fun for the first time in your fucking life ever. So yeah, you did come on too strong, and you did read it a little bit wrong, right? Like, in the sense of, you didn't quite see the signals that, like, because like in a healthier situation, right? Stolas, like, reaching out, trying to sort of flirt with him, trying to maybe deepen things a little bit. He would see that over and over again, Blitz is like not responding, not giving him anything, and that would be like, oh, that's a red flag, right? That's a red flag for a person who's not emotionally available right now. And if Stolas was more experienced, if he had like more understanding of romance to draw upon, that's the kind of signal you kind of go, okay, right, like, I like this person, I'm attracted to them, but that's clearly not a good idea. Like, that, the signals are clear, this is not going to happen. Like, whether that's because they're not interested or because they have their own emotional issues that they're not available for, when you're more experienced, you kind of go, okay, right, that we'll let that one slide. That's like, but because it's his first relationship ever, right? Like, because it's the first time, and because it's this person from his past, the first person who ever gave him a happy day in his life, right? The first person that he felt any kind of like real connection or friendship or affection for. So of course, like, he like, it's that thing of like, yeah, you're not wrong, you did come on too strong. You did misread the situation, you misread what Blitz is capable of giving you back, right? And you put a bunch of expectations on him that he just isn't capable of meeting, right? Even though, like, perhaps he should be, but what at least I have seen from the two of them is that if the two of them can get over this shit, right? Like, if Blitz can find some way to access his feelings that isn't anger and like conflict, and if Stolas can find some way to be patient with him, which is not an easy ask. It's not an easy ask for either. Like, Stolas is going to have to learn to be very, very patient with Blitz in a way that, like, again, if you're in a real life situation where you get into a relationship that is demanding that much from you, there's other people you should maybe consider, is that worth it? Like, it really has to be worth it before you sort of invest and expend so much of yourself for any relationship with anyone, right? And Blitz needs to learn to navigate his feelings in a way that isn't just anger and pain, right? Like, where he's not constantly taking all of his self-hatred out on everyone around him, right? And that's a big ask from both of them. But I don't think they don't belong together. Like, I think there is a real thing in there. There's something in there that, like, that could be a good, beautiful relationship for both of them. Because, like, Blitz needs someone who will love him. Right? Someone who will actually love him. Like, his exes, I'm just gonna go on a limb. Like, Verosika probably wasn't that good for Blitz either. Just, like, she has a lot of resentment towards him. She blames him for everything. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that, like, the severe alcoholic, drug-dependent, like, pop star succubus whose response to having her heart broken by Blitz is to throw an entire party entirely dedicated to hating him and, like, killing him in effigy, maybe that wasn't a great time for Blitz either, right? Like, maybe she also hurt him a little bit, right? Like, maybe Blitz is, because, like, Blitz is a guy with so many fucking issues and so much self-hatred, and the pattern that tends to emerge when you live with all that kind of pain and self-hatred and misery is, like, you tend to get into relationships with people who aren't that good for you, right? Which is where, like, Blitz stumbles ass backwards, entirely accidentally, without ever meaning to pursue it, stumbles ass backwards into a relationship with probably the best guy he's ever had a chance with in his life, right? Someone who's so willing to care about his feelings, so willing to love him, so willing to respect him, like, who actually thinks highly of him, right? Who respects him. Or at least tries, like, not in the sense the Stolas is, like, faultless in that sense, we've talked about this, but... So, like, I think Stolas would be incredibly good for Blitz. And along the same lines, like, this is what we saw in like, their dynamic, especially their childhood, like, Blitz's capacity to not give a shit about social rules and standing, his capacity, like, to chase freedom and fun, to, like, to make the world an enjoyable place, his capacity to give joy. These are all abilities that he has, even if all of his issues are making him real bad at fucking applying them. He could make Stolas very happy. Right? If not for that, right? So it's not that they don't belong together, it's that there's a lot of barriers there. There's a lot of challenges that need to be overcome before any of this can ever become real. And that, my friends, is what makes a compelling romance. Because, like, oh yeah, two people who are real good for each other and they just get together and then there's no problem. It's just like, yeah, no, but why would you write a book about that, right? That's cool, great, happy for you guys. And then also, like, what's there to tell a story about? Why is, like I don't know that I want 48 episodes of, like, a movie about how you people are just happy and you never have any problems. I don't know, that, like, enjoy all your cozy coffee shop AUs all you want, like sort of cozy slice of life conflict-free media can be fun sometimes, but, you know, even in those stories, there's usually, like, conflict is just located somewhere else. This is fun because these two dipshits are currently very toxic for each other, but you can see how they could be good, right? How they could heal each other's pain in a lot of ways. And the thing they share, the two of them, by the way, is that what if, why? Like, I really think that that's where they both are right now. But to Blitz, the what if is scary, right? Well, what if there could be something? Well, that's fucking terrifying. Because my whole entire self-conception is based on there can't be anything, right? My whole entire self-conception is based on I'm an unlovable piece of shit and I'll be unhappy and alone forever. There can't be anything. There can't possibly be anything. And if it was possible, I would have to rethink every part of myself. I am such a sucker for this kind of fire animation. Like the fucking... Like with the like with the speed lines that follow like the vertical burn of the fire and outlines like the volume of something.
Makes me burn.
To emphasize a high note, like that's kind of metal.
Oh, I don't think you meant to hurt me, 'cause I don't think it meant a thing at all.
We did it.
No, not at all. At all, at all, at all.
Huh. Whose name is that on the tattoo? Anyway, didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything. You made me feel upset about things. I'm gonna be angry about it. Also, like, again, from Blitz's perspective right now, he's in a crowd of everyone who's ever hurt who actively hates him, with, like, his exes on stage all singing a song about, like, how he doesn't care about them and, like, how his feelings meant nothing. There are good reasons to not be, like, to not take that very well.
The motherfucker. Na 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 na. The motherfucker. Na 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 na.
Aww.
The motherfucker. Thank you for your time.
Alrighty, bitches! Let's get wild!
Oh, Blitz. Are you gonna try? Are you gonna try? This is the worst place in the world. This is the worst timing you could possibly choose to try. It is. This is the thing. The smart thing to do right now is to leave. Is to leave Stolas alone for a while. Let all of the feelings sort of percolate, pass through you both, and then go talk to him. Like, the smart thing to do would be not to do it now, but if you were smart, there would be no story.
Hey,
Timing, right? Like, again, making the point, right? Like, this is already the worst timing he could possibly choose, and then he chooses the moment when Stolas is, like, neck deep in a full drink to say hey. Just emphasizing that he has the worst timing of any human being on the planet. Or, any, well, I mean human being. You know what I mean.
hey.
Blitz, what are you doing here? You're lucky everyone is drunk, or you would be murdered right now.
Ah, no, it's good. I'm in a disguise. Wow. I've never seen you throw 'em back like this.
Came just to judge me, is that it?
No, this was the final stop on the apology tour I've been on today.
Oh, yes, I recall. Everyone but me is getting your cheap apologies tonight. Well, you certainly have your work cut out for you.
Look, how I acted this morning.
Again, like, when your boyfriend or your ex-boyfriend is angry and drunk, and just like poured his heart out on stage, maybe not the time to try and. He's drinking a lot right now, Blitz. Maybe this isn't the moment of trying to get through to him.
It was fucked, okay?
This morning? Oh, why did you show up there? Why did you show up here?
You already asked that, but look, I just really need to talk to you, to explain.
Oh?
I've always been real shit at sorries, okay? They're for pussies, and no one fucking deserves them anyway, but I felt like maybe you actually needed one.
Oh, lucky me!
Oh, shit. Okay, what I mean is, he said sorry a lot today. And honestly, didn't really mean any of it. Because the only one I wanted to say it to was you, Stolas. This whole thing we had going, I mean, you're a fucking prince. How could you ever actually care for an imp? Me. How could anybody?
Blitz, there is a crowd full of people here who cared so much, they throw an entire fucking party about hating you every year. Do you know how much you have to care to do something as stupid as that?
Stolas, you are better off without me, okay? You deserve so much. I don't even know why you would want to be with me.
You want to know what I want? I want to know what it's like to not be alone. I want to be someone's someone. I want to feel wanted. But like, in a romantic way, like I'm standing out in the rain at a train station and someone is shouting, "Harriet, don't get on that train, it's going to London and I cannot be without you!"
Oh, Stolas, that's a rom-com.
Oh, fuck you. The point is, I just want someone to care if I stay or go. I want someone to want me.
That is good animation right there. Okay. What an image. And I do love.
They're for pussies, and no one fucking deserves it.
The little owl twist. Yuck. I really do like the way that they do that with Stolas and Octavia. Like, that they really just incorporate the whole twisty owl neck thing. I really like that. That's such a nice way to use their demon anatomy for it. One thing, by the way. Sorry is for pussies and no one fucking deserves them anyway. That is such a... That's such a self-reporting line, right? That is such a projection. Because it's such a... It's such a, like, well, no one deserves apologies. It's like, no. It's like, well, I have never deserved an apology ever once in my life. So therefore, right? Like, that's such a projection-ass line.
He said sorry a lot today.
We kind of talked about that with with Moxie, right? Like when he has that little blow up in Unhappy Campers at Millie, right? He's not talking to her really. Like, because what he's doing is projecting his own feelings out into the world, right? Like, why does it matter so much what these Hicks think of you? It's like, yeah, no, that's Mox, that's you. Why does it matter to me so much what those Hickeys think of me is what he's saying, right? That's what projection does. Is like you take this internal thing, this worry, this fear, this anxiety, this whatever it is, and then you project it out into the world because it's easier to externalize it. It's easier to handle it when it's outside of yourself, right?
Just this whole thing we had going. I mean, you're a fucking prince. How could you ever actually care for an imp? Me. How could anybody?
And that's also projection, right? Like, how could anybody possibly care for me? Well, it's like, that's what that is like, well, I don't care for me. I think I'm shit. I think I'm a piece of garbage. I think I destroy everything and hurt everyone. I don't care for me. So how could anyone like, what the fuck do you mean you care for me? No, you don't. That's not a thing that's possible. I'm me, and I don't even like me, right?
Blitz, there is a crowd full of people here who cared so much.
I like the enunciation of that. There is a crowd full of people here. I don't think I talk about it enough, but the lip sync, like the mouth animation, when they really go in on it, like, if you can almost read the lips of a character as stylized as Stolas, that means that someone who knows what the fuck they're doing is doing the lip animation on that, because, like the tongue touching, like, the back of the front teeth for, like, full of people here.
Party about hating you.
Looking at the party, looking back, looking at the party, looking back. He's trying to party about hating you. Back and forth, back and forth. And they're doing a good job also of like animating Stolas' tipsiness, his drunkenness. Like that little bit of wobbliness, like the gestures that are bigger than normal and less elegant. Like where he's less, it's not that he's gesturing out with his arm. Oh, Dalek attack. My. It's not that he's gesturing out with his arm. It's that he's throwing it that way, right? Throwing it out that way, and then and you can see how it pulls his body a little bit to the side. He's like tipping over a little bit, catching himself. Right? Like that little wobbliness, that little unsteadiness. And again, Blitz saying the thing, right? Stolas, you're better off without me, right? That's why he sabotages it, right? That's why he wants to fight. Because you're better off without me, right? That's again, in the same way that we sort of criticize Stolas for making unilateral decisions about the relationship without really getting Blitz on board with it. That's the same thing, right? Like, I have decided that you are better off without me, so I'm gonna sabotage the relationship and make it over, right? Because like in the same way Stolas was making decisions about what was best for the both of them without Blitz. That's also that. Like, you don't get to decide that for other people. Ultimately, you don't get to decide for other people whether or not they're better off without you. That's not how that works. Right? You can have an opinion about it, absolutely, and you can make an argument about it, and you can decide that you don't want to be with them because, like, you think that you're bad for them. You can make those decisions, but you can't decide for someone else what's good or bad for them that way. That's not how it goes, right?
You are better off without me, okay? You deserve so much. I don't need.
That's really good. You deserve so much. Facepalm. Like, they mutually facepalm at the same time. That's really good. You deserve so much. And then he catches himself and says, instead of saying, and that's another thing, right? Instead of saying, you deserve so much, like, you deserve so much good, I want so much good on you, right? For you. I want you to be happy. Instead of saying that, well, because we are in deep insecurity, I don't even know why you would want to be with me. We turn it around from, this is what I want for you, to, well, I'm a piece of shit. I'm garbage, right? We turn it around from, like, wanting something good for someone else to falling straight back down into our own self-loathing and resentment, right? And that, it's a small thing, but that's a behavior I recognize from myself as, like, at other points in my life, right? Like, it's that little, when you shift that little framing from, I want good things for you, like, whether that's, like, I want you deserve better than me, but you shift that from, this is what I want from you, to, well, I'm a piece of shit, I'm garbage, I don't, like, I suck, right? Is that turning it from the framing, the directionality you turn things in.
Want to be with me.
You want to know what I want? I want to know what it's like to not be alone. I want to be someone's someone. I want to feel wanted. But, like, in a romantic way, like I'm standing out in the rain at a train station and someone is shouting, "Harriet, don't get on that train, it's going to London and I cannot be without you."
Oh, Stolas, that's a rom-com.
Oh, fuck you. The point is, I just want someone to care.
And Blitz isn't wrong here. Like, again, this is sort of coming back to Stolas. His idea of what romance is and how it's supposed to feel is immature in the sense that it seems to be shaped more by stories and media than direct experience, right? Which, again, of course it is. Like what else? He doesn't have anything else, the poor kid. But the feeling that he's expressing, right? The feeling that he's expressing is very real, right? It's like, I want to be, like, especially given the relationship he was stuck in with fucking Stella, right? Especially given what he was stuck in with Stella, that where he was so unwanted and just, like, nonstop 24/7 degradation and humiliation and abuse. Like, of course this is what he wants, right? Like, and that's, he saw Blitz as his chance at that, right? He saw Blitz as his opportunity for that, right? Like, oh my god, like this like stranger, like this like visitor from my past, the last time I was ever happy, has shown up on my doorstep all of a sudden, like has tried to sneak into my home. It's like, I know what this is. I've read a romance novel. It's like, of course he wants that. Of course he does. And, like, it is odd to say, but like as an aromantic person, I understand this yearning very well, right? In the sense of like, back when I didn't know that aromantic is a thing that you could be, I had this thing of like, why am I not? Why everyone else with all of the poems and the movies and the books and the things and the TV shows about the love and being obsessed with people and having this like sense of connection and togetherness and wanting to be with someone so intensely. It's like, why am I not feeling that? Like, why can't I have that? Why don't I feel that? Why am I not normal? Right? Like, why? It's like, I relate to some part of what Stolas is expressing here. Just in the sense of like, I eventually realized it's like, oh, it's because it's like, that's not really a part of who I am in that way. Which is like, for Stolas, it is very much a part of who he is, right? But I do relate to it, right? Like, to that feeling of being left behind, or being left outside the romantic experience that other people seem to get to have. Like, that I understand. Lovely character design, this one.
Calm. Oh, fuck you. The point is, I just want someone to care if I stay or go. I want someone to want me.
Which is where we come back. Right, the I want someone to care if I stay or go. I want someone to want me. And then, like, panning down to Blitz, like, displacing whatever's going on inside of him into, like, this unsteady twiddling of the fingers. Right? Like, that Stolas' words are pushing so many buttons in him that it's like, this nervousness, this like, as though he wants to do something, right? Like, he wants to take an action, but he's holding back from it.
Hold me, look at me and think, you're the only one I want. I desire to hold you and talk to you, never let you feel so.
Good visual language, right? Like, I want someone to see me, to hold me, to look at me and think, well, you're the only one that I want. In the exact moment that Blitz looks at him and thinks, you're the only one that I want, right? How well is Blitz gonna handle that? How well is Blitz gonna handle realizing that Stolas is the only one that he wants? Probably not very well, given that it's Blitz. And the thing is, everything Stolas is describing here, right? That's what Blitz wants too. Right? Like that. Blitz wants this as well. He wants to be loved so badly. But he doesn't think he deserves it. He doesn't think he can be. So when he hears Stolas express, like, that's the only thing I want from someone else, that clearly is also resonating inside of him, right? It's just that he doesn't believe it's possible, and Stolas does believe it's possible, and it breaks his heart when it doesn't happen, right?
Only one I want. I desire to hold you and talk to you, never let you feel so.
Blitz. Right, you see the hand reaching out, approaching. Like, I want to... Like, that impulse to touch, right? To reach out, to connect. And then he goes, no, but I can't do that. Not me, right? I can't give someone love. I can't be loved. And then, do it, do it, do it!
You! Why are you here? I don't want you here. Go home, please. Let me not feel so sad.
Hey,
Oh, hello.
great song earlier.
Oh no, Blitz, are you about to get jealous? That would be fun. Right as he's about to. Oh, right, actually, Stolas is not in a good place to receive that right now, is he?
You! Why are you here? I don't want you here. Go home, please. Let me not feel so sad.
That to me seems like Blitz going, fuck, I've hurt him again, right? Like, I hurt him again. I'm causing pain to someone I care about again. I'm fucking this up again. Me, I'm the problem. Me. Right, like, that's what that feels like. Like, I fucked this up again. I did the wrong thing again, right? It's, ugh. And again, right, like right at the moment when Blitz is about to try.
Oh, hello.
Great song earlier. You have great pipes.
Thank you.
Yeah, he sings fantastic. We're talking here.
Well, I just wanted to see if maybe, I don't know, you'd want to dance?
You want...
Because that's the first time anyone has ever, like... For Stolas, this is the first time anyone has ever been like, I want to dance with you. Oh, poor baby boy. I mean, he deserves it. Stolas deserves, like, a chance to just have a good time at a party and be happy for once in his life.
To dance? With me?
Yeah.
Do it. Go.
Okay.
Good on you for, like, letting him go there, Blitz, also.
Hey, Ver.
So, an apology tour, huh? You got a lot of balls coming here, Blitzo.
Yeah, I know. Everyone here hates me.
Yep, that's the point, dumbass.
So what, you're waiting for your sorry?
Oh, look at him falling back into it.
Oh, fuck you, you little prick.
Well, I'm sorry for always telling it like it is, sister. Well, I'm just being honest.
No, you're not. No, you're lying. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm just being honest. No, you're not. You are lying. That's the problem, baby boy.
I'm sorry for dumping you. Sorry for not falling head over heels for you, or that guy, or fucking Dennis, or anyone at this stupid fucking party.
Oh, you are so fucking shitty. Do you hear yourself?
Everyone's shitty. Hello, we live in hell. Why am I all of a sudden the bad guy just for sucking at relationships?
Are you expecting sympathy? Oh, poor Blitz. Finally having to own that his actions affect other people's fifis. Bitch, please. How do you think I felt when the fun guy I was dating decided to just bail on me because I made the shitty mistake of saying I love... It was the most embarrassing feeling to be vulnerable for once, and you really just know how to send a message in the shittiest fucking way. The worst part is you still make me feel like a bad person for being angry at you now. But hosting this party for everyone else you've dicked over. At least I can help others cope with the shit you did. What? No snarky comeback?
No. You're right. I actually am, sorry. I don't want to be this way. Not forever.
Looks like Stolas is having a good time.
Yeah, well, he needs it.
Get it?
Oh, a really good time.
Oh, that bird-stealing cockback!
Hold it, Blitz. You know, if you want to change, it just starts with saying, good for him. Hope he gets laid. Here, have some cake, fuckwad.
His heart. Aw.
Ever since you went away,
Oh, that's good.
I've been haunted.
Hang on. Okay. I'm sorry for telling it like it is. Again, that's projection, right? Everyone's shitty. We live in hells. It's like, I'm shitty. Everyone is shitty, right? Surely. Projection. Right? Everyone's shitty. Again, admission, I'm shitty. Why am I all of a sudden the bad guy for just sucking at the relationships? That's not why, Blitz. It's what you want it to be about, but that's not what it is.
Fun guy I was dating decided to just bail on me because I made the shitty mistake of saying I love... It was the most embarrassing feeling to be vulnerable for once, and you really just know how to send a message in the shittiest fucking way. The worst part is you still make me feel like a bad person for being angry at you now. But hosting this party for everyone else you've dicked over, at least I can help others cope with the shit you did. What? No snarky comeback?
No. You're right. I actually am, sorry. I don't want to be this way. Not forever.
Looks like Stolas is having a good time.
Yeah, well, he needs it.
Well, hey! I do like that, like, in order to twirl him, the guy, like, jumps and flies with his wings just a second to get the hand over. That's a really cute animation detail. The animator cheats it a little bit, right? Because, like, there's the fucking hat in the way, right? So we just kind of whoop, 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 whoop. We just kind of swap that one in and out. Like, completely justifiable. Like, that's a difficult physical object to deal with. And the motion works perfectly. Right under the heartbreak symbol as well. Aww. Again, that thing of like, Blitz has just realized he actually wants Stolas, he actually cares about Stolas, and then it's his own fault. Like, it's not, I don't like, oh, poor Blitz in that sense, but in the sense of like, yeah, no, that's a tough feeling to all of a sudden have to sit with.
Oh, a really good time.
Oh, that bird-stealing cockbag!
It's an interesting use also of the railing of the stairs as prison bars. I guess a barrier, right?
Blitz, you know, if you want to change, it just starts with saying, good for him. Hope he gets laid. Here, have some cake, fuckwad.
Handing him his heart on a plate. And I really do like that. Like the return of the goop imagery from Truth Seekers. Right, he looks at that, and all he feels is that, right? Which, like, he looks at his own skewered heart, and it's just the goop spilling out. All that dirt that clings to him. The regret, the shame. All of those complicated feelings that Stolas represented the opportunity of escape from. Yeah, it makes sense that that is all coming back to him.
Ever since you went away, I've been haunted, haunted. I always get whatever I want, and I wanted you. So now I'm drawing circles in the sand, trying to understand how you do the things you do.
I like the implication that he's one of Blitz's exes here.
Sometimes it still hurts a bit.
The fucking radio. Just the whole universe punching him in the dick. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. But yeah, like, that's what you plant in the world, right? When you're like constantly, when you go through the world powered by nothing but self-hatred. And you let that self-hatred shape how you interact with everyone around you. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's what you make. and it's bitter, and it's painful, but, you know, it's the whirlwind, you know? It's the reaping.
Things you do.
He sees Stolas, and Stolas becomes the only thing he can see. Right? Everything else disappears. And Stolas is the only person, the only thing he sees when he looks closely. That is genuinely kind of funny.
Sometimes it still hurts a bit. Sometimes I'm so full of shit. But this much is true. Baby, I'm not over it. I'm over you. 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 I thought I could stomp you out like a fire. Like a flame.
It's done, but I'm not now I'm covered in ashes. Yeah.
Done, but now I'm covered in ashes. And I still feel the same.
Christina V. Yeah. Jinx Monsoon as Martha. Is that the same person who voiced her in the first episode? Let's see. IMDb. Yes, actually. Yes, it was. Fantastic. Abe Goldfarb. I should probably look him up. That seems like a name I recognize. Yeah, right. That's the guy who played the lawyer in the other episode.
I guess if I get rid of every sign of what we have did, there'll be no one left to blame.
So I'm being a bit quiet. That's because I'm processing. I'm trying to sort of think my way through it. And I'm gonna want to go back and look at a bunch of things that happen. But like the main thing is like what's being accurately diagnosed here is like if you go through life hating yourself, right? And projecting that self-hatred outwards. First of all, you're gonna hurt anyone who cares about you, right? Like that inevitably, because you become incapable of receiving their love. Like we've talked about that before, is like if you hate yourself, you become incapable of allowing for the possibility that someone else might actually care, right? And if you ever begin to become conscious that, oh shit, this person cares about me, you get it in your head, well, the best thing I could possibly do is to make them see how shitty I am by being as shitty to them as possible, right? Because then the relationship will end, and then I won't hurt them anymore, right? Like, then they will see that they are better off without me. We see that expressed over and over, in like the way that like Blitz tries to deal with Stolas. Is like, it's that thing of like, he wants to be with him, but he doesn't want to be with him because like he cannot conceive of the idea that him being with him could possibly be a good idea. Which, you know, he might be right about. Like, it probably isn't a good idea for them to be together right now. It probably is not a very good idea. It's probably for the best that they are not together for a while. Because, like, that's the selfish thing about self-hate, right? It's... when you project that outwards, you try to force the rest of the world to see you the way that you see you. Right? It's this thing of like, it's this imposition of a view, right? And also, like, the other thing about self-hatred is that it's a fantastic excuse to never try to be better. Right? It's like, well, I'm intrinsically, I am ontologically bad. I'm ontologically a terrible person. Therefore, I can't be better. And therefore, not only can't I be better, but I also shouldn't try. Because that's going to go wrong every single time, forever. That is the thing that cannot succeed, so it's a waste of time, right? To try and be better, so no one deserves any apologies. Because, like, what's the point of an apology? An apology would imply some kind of attempt to be better, and I can't be better, so therefore, right? That's the other thing about self-hatred. It can be a very, very good excuse to stay shitty.
I got over you. I got over you.
I can see how this episode provoked a lot of discourse in the community now. I can see people getting into some real nasty arguments about who's right and wrong here. Anyway, hello chat, how are you doing? I can see you now. Are you all behaving yourselves? Never, I see. Listen to the music when Blitz tries to comfort Stolas. Okay.
Who cared so much, they throw an entire fucking party about hating you every year. Do you know how much you have to care to do something as stupid as that?
Stolas, you are better off without me, okay? You deserve so much. I don't even know why you would want to be with me.
You want to know what I want?
I want to know what it's like to not be alone. I want to be someone's someone. I want to feel wanted. But like, in a romantic way, like I'm standing out in the rain at a train station and someone is shouting, "Harriet, don't get on that train, it's going to London and I cannot be without you."
Oh, Stolas, that's a rom-com.
Oh, fuck you. The point is, I just want someone to care if I stay or go. I want someone to want me, to want to see me, to hold me, look at me and think, you're the only one I want. I desire to hold you and talk to you, never let you feel so. You, why are you here?
Okay, I see. It's like there's lyrics in the background that sort of comment on what's happening. I get it.
Want you here? Go home, please. Let me not feel so sad.
Hey.
Oh.
It's a classic gag, right? I've seen the message from you. A ... I can't see what your name is because my streamer mode is on. Let's see. Imp Leon Kennedy? He doesn't really look like Leon Kennedy, does he? I think it's a little bit. He doesn't have the hair. Leon's hair is not that long. Come on. Did I realize that was the teacher from the first episode? No, but someone in chat pointed it out, so now I know. Good for them, I guess. He's known as better than Blitzo guy. Yeah. Toxic Yuri. Oh yeah. I mean, boy, that's gotta be some that's gotta be some grimly toxic Yuri. Holy shit. Or maybe even funnier is if they both actually have if they have a really, really healthy relationship and it turns out the husband was the problem the whole time. But no, yeah, like a fairly accurate assessment this of like what self-hatred breeds, right? And I really, in this scene, I really like the prison bars. Right? Because it's like, that's kind of partly what Blitz has done to himself. Like, he has imprisoned himself away from all of this, away from all of these people, right? Like, that's what his self-isolation keeps making him do. His, like, self-hate keeps making him do is push himself away from other people, from connection, from togetherness, right? It's like that is what it does, and I can see that entirely as like this is a representation of how he feels. Yeah, like he feels trapped in who he is, right? He feels trapped in who he is and what he does. Right? I don't want to be this way forever, but he doesn't know how not to be, right? He doesn't know how to not be that. And that is a very imprisoning feeling. They could be good friends, but they also, like, clearly both, deep down, both want a relationship. Yeah. I mean, this is a romance. Like, their relationship is a romance. Like, that's what's happening here. That's the genre, right? So, like, 100% absolutely. I completely understand, like, coming from the aromantic perspective, right? Like, the thing of, like, why couldn't they just have a relationship together that's not about romance? Why does it have to be about romance all the time? And it's like, yeah, but also that's the genre. It's a little bit like asking, like, why do the Star Wars movies always have to have Jedis fighting with lightsabers? It's like, sure, absolutely, we can have a Rogue One. Rogue One is cool, but also, it's the genre. It's not romance, it's emotional intimacy. The genre is what the genre is. Like, emotional intimacy exists in a lot of different genres. Romance is specifically about that bit. Like, about romantic connection. I wish there were more stories that, like, took the specific view, like, more interested in exploring queer platonic and, like, intensely emotionally connected friendships. I really do wish that. That would be nice if that was more normal, right? If that was more common. But, like, the romance genre of fiction is the romance genre of fiction. And I don't think Helluva Boss is a deconstruction of it at all. At least, like, not yet. This is all very much within the scope of the tropes of the romance genre. Like, fully. The idea that this is a deconstruction is like, I guess you could make that argument, but, like, what are you deconstructing exactly? So far. It's like you have these two people who have this intense thing that draws them together, and then there's all these barriers that get in the way, like these barriers of, like, personal class, like of like personal problems, trauma, class position, all of this stuff that, like, keeps them apart from one another, where the point of the story is that, like, oh, what must be overcome in order for the relationship to be consummated. And, like, if by the end of it they go, oh no, actually what they needed was to be in, like, a platonic relationship with one another, that's not romantic, but they just really love and appreciate each other without that part of it, because, like, they can't be in romance together. Sure. Sure, absolutely. Then you could argue that there's a deconstruction happening. With what's present in the show so far? Not really, because, like, the episodes themselves, the text of what's happening, has not been questioning the tropes of romance, it's been playing them straight. So, like, I don't think I subscribe to the idea that there's a deconstruction going on here. I really don't think they do. The tattoo has Blitz's name crossed. I know, I saw it. I commented on it earlier. I thought I disabled those polls. But yeah, like, this to me feels like a very accurate, like, and heightened, it's a cartoon, right? Like, it's a heightened depiction of the kind of pain you can plant in the world when you go through the world with, like, this constant self-hatred, right? Like Blitz hates himself so much. It's like, yeah, well, no surprise everyone else hates you too. It's like, that's what you told them to do. You told them, like, I am shitty, I am worthless, I am unlovable, I cannot, like, give other people joy or happiness. Well, there you go. Like, they listened, right? They paid attention to you. So, like, here's what you have sown. Now it's time to think about maybe if you want to do a different kind of gardening, right? And there isn't an easy way to get over that. Like, that's the transactional thing that Blitz is trying, right? Like, this fucking... I'll show up with a gift basket and say sorry, and that's what an apology is. And that's not what an apology is, right? It's the tough thing about vulnerability. Vulnerability requires you to believe that you could be better somehow, right? To be vulnerable and say sorry requires you to be able to actually believe in yourself that you can do better. And that seems to be what Blitz rather struggles with. It's like, right, but if I pretend that I can do better, then I'm lying anyway. So therefore, apologies are lies. So therefore, right, like, that's why he doesn't know how to do one. And it is, like, it is selfish of Blitz to show up here also, I will say. Like, to show up here and, like, instead of giving Stolas the night to, like, process his feelings and be angry and be sad and, like, find some community in that Blitz, like, insists on still being there, showing up, in the same way that Blitz just kind of barged into his life, like, barged into his garden at the start of the episode without being invited, without any indication from Stolas that he wants to see him. Like, that's also selfish. It's rude, right? For reasons that are understandable, but still, like, you probably shouldn't do that, Blitzy. And that's where I do like by the end of the episode that, like, he does manage to let it go. Right? He has, like, he reaches for anger again. Right? Anger, resentment. He's just about to start a fight. And then Verosika, like, hey, how about, instead of doing that, what if you did, instead of doing the thing you have always done, the thing that has always turned out shit, the thing that has always blown up in your face forever, what if one time you did a different thing? What if one time you did something a little bit different and not do that, and then let's see what happens? And, like, good on Blitz that he, like, seems to receive that. Also, this little gesture from, like, as she's stepping around him, that's an elegant little twist of the ankle. Like, to displace her along the floor so she can go past. It's really nicely animated. Because that's, like, there's not that much you can fucking do with these feet, right? Because they're such simple, awkward shapes. Like, that's not really, you can't really walk on feet like that. These are Powerpuff Girls feet, right? Like, these are fucking, like, Miss Bellum from Powerpuff Girls ass stiletto heels. So, like, the animator managing those little rotations, like, here along the hip, and then there as she steps out around, that's really nicely handled. Because, like, Verosika has gotta be a kind of awkward, like, with the anatomy that she has, like, the way that she's put together, doing, like, a full hip-swaying kind of strut walk cycle with, like, those very high heels and, like, the twist of the hips. That's a good arc. Yeah, that's really nicely done. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. What were we talking about? Oh, right, Verosika. By the way, like, Verosika gets some sympathy here, which I'm pleased with. Right, like, that we get a little bit of vulnerability from her about, like, what happened to her, what she feels. Right, that we get, and like, because the last time they met, they were just shouting abuse at each other, right? Like, that was the extent of their conversation, was they were just, like, hurling insults at one another. Verosika threw Blitz's sister in his face, which is, like, what you would call a low blow. I do like that she gets, like, to express, like, some vulnerability and pain to him in a way that he seems to actually hear. Like, that's a nice, good for her that she got a little bit of that catharsis, because that can be fucking important. That said, like, there's that thing of, like, I don't think she's being dishonest at all when she says that that hurt her and that was painful. But it is still this thing of, like, you made a cake shaped like him, and you stabbed it while screaming and laughing. It's like... it does indicate to me that, like, for all that she's trying to process and handle it, is, like, maybe... Like, if that's how she handles feeling rejected or upset or aggrieved in any way, like, that says to me that, again, it probably wasn't 100% one-sided, right? Not that she's being dishonest. I think she means every word she says right now. And I don't think she's wrong. Just that, you know, it's possible for people to be mutually toxic in some ways. I really like the way she's animated, though. Like, again, because of the fucking, like, that shit, like, with the feet, with those extreme, like, pinpoint high heels, and, like, that, she really does have a very Powerpuff Girls character design in a lot of ways. Like, a little more complicated than characters got to be on that particular show, but there's a lot of Craig McCracken in here. Like the way they handle her bust here, for example, right? Like, they kind of have to... Trying to turn it three-dimensionally is a little difficult because it always has to be pointing one way, right? Kind of the same way, like as with Blitz's face, right? Like, Blitz's face always looks a little bit awkward from the front because it's designed to be seen in some sort of quarter, like three-quarter or side view, because it's so heavily stylized. It's kind of the same thing there, where, like, the animator has to pull a few tricks to sort of, like, shift the volume to keep it looking right. They do a really good job with it. And with the way that she handles, like, posture and balance. Like, as she's kicking out with her leg, like, you see the way that, like, that knee also bends to sort of manage her balance. Because it is deceptively difficult to animate characters that are so heavily stylized. I also like this, right? Like, because that's the tension, isn't it? Like, the joy and catharsis of, like, yeah, fuck you! And then that brings up all of the bad feelings and all of the hurt. It's like, oh, God! Right? Like, of, like, expressing anger, and then next comes all of the pain of it. And it is really, like, it takes all of this, right, before Blitz finally sort of is able to let down all of the, like, let go of the immediate anger response for a second. That's a lot. Again, I really like the way they handle her animation. Like that little blink to transition. Like the little push of the shoulder out in front of the collar to sort of indicate a slight turning. And then she sees Stolas and, like, ha! Then, like, she has that one moment of, like, good for him for a moment, right? And then, hey, looks like Stolas is having a good time. And then, like, her having had that, she seems to want to pass it on in the sense of, like, hey, maybe the thing you should say is instead of getting angry, instead of getting involved, you should just say good for him. Maybe you should just let go of it. And I wonder if that indicates a level of understanding on her part. Like, because again, it's that thing about, like, if you're going about with as much damage and as much self-hatred as Blitz is, the relationships you will tend to attract are ones that... like, are ones that sort of interact with that damage, right? Like, that have some kind of interaction with, like, maybe that reinforce your self-hatred. So, like, maybe she has some understanding of, like, what self-hatred can do to a person, right? Like, she's been to rehab, right? She's dealing with a substance problem. So, like, I would imagine that she probably has some experience with it. Maybe that's some of what she's trying for a second to pass on here. Like, if she's learned something that helped her heal a little bit from that. Because, like, I would imagine that she probably had to have this moment with Blitz, right? After their relationship fell the fuck apart and she saw him, like, stumble his dumbass into another, like, doomed, failed relationship. She probably had to have that conversation with herself at some point. Good for him. Hope he gets laid. I'm gonna try and move on from this. Except she clearly hasn't. Well, that's what the lyrics of the song are expressing, right? I'm not over it, but I'm over you, right? It's that thing of like trying to move on from the person to let the person go, even though, like, the damage lingers, right? Like, the pain lingers. Those two are not exactly the same thing, right? Like, you can move on from the relationship you have with a person without, like, that doesn't mean that everything, all the baggage they put in your life goes with them, right? Right, that's the thing. She seems like, again, I think it's really shitty of her to throw this party. I think that's a shitty way to, like, eat, no matter how shitty Blitz is, right? But it's also, it's the joke, right? Like, that's the comedy of it, right? Like, this is a ridiculously over-the-top thing, sort of playing on the idea of like it taking something and then heightening it to a cartoonish extent. Right, at least I can help others cope with the shit you did. It's like, also, clearly this is a way for her to, herself to cope with the pain that he put her through, right? This is a way for herself to try and deal with it. By finding community in it, right? And that's another thing in like, again, this is not healthy in real life. Don't do this in real life. That's probably not a good idea. But it isn't that unusual for, like, people who are exes who had the same, like experience with someone who like really hurt them or put them through the ringer. They can find community with one another about that. That's not an uncommon thing. Again, maybe don't do it this way. Maybe don't send out, like, handwritten invitations to, like, a fucking raging house party. Maybe not like this, but in principle, yeah, like, there can be community and sharing of that experience, right? That could be a way to heal. To know that you're not alone in it. But, you know.
Others cope with the shit you did. What? No snarky comeback?
No. You're right. I actually am, you know, sorry. I don't want to be this way. Not forever.
Looks like Stolas is having a good time.
Yeah, well, he needs it.
Just like, we're heavy on the symbolism here, right? Like, right in the heartbreak, right behind the prison bars. You were like, this man, you were having a moment just a second ago where you seemed to be expressing a desire to be better, and you're right back to it, like straight back to it. Straight back to anger.
Hold it, Blitz. You know, if you want to change, it just starts with saying, good for him. Hope he gets laid. Here, have some cake, fuckwad.
Ever since you went away, I've been haunted.
Let's see. Someone says, I think we also have to remember that everyone here is an unreliable narrator. Blitz will also always accept the worldview that paints him in the worst light as the truth. Verosika has an interest in pinning her anger and resentment on Blitz, even if she fucked up in the relationship too. Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like that's the table stakes here. And certainly these are the table stakes of the story. We talked about this extensively with Blitz and Stolas, right? Like that the rift that happens in their relationship is not because someone was trying to be the bad guy. It's not because someone is trying to hurt someone else. It's because they both have limitations and damage, and like they both have a limited set of tools with which to express their feelings and with which to understand feelings, with which to understand other people's behavior. And that shit runs at cross purposes, right? Like, it's not that there's a good guy or a bad guy or a hero or a villain. It's that there's a bunch of people with a bunch of damage that interacts in bad ways. And, like, it wouldn't be any different from with any of the other relationships that Blitz was in. Like, I don't think Blitz entered any of those relationships wanting to hurt anyone or making an active effort to hurt anyone. But I do think he entered those relationships with a hell of a lot of damage and a lot of self-sabotaging behavior that end up causing damage, and it doesn't really matter whether he wanted to or not, right? It doesn't matter whether he wanted to hurt them or not. He did. And they probably hurt him in turn because, like, there's rarely any other way that it goes, right? And that's not to say that everything is equivalent, because it's not, right? Like, one person can cause a lot more damage than another person in a relationship. But in the sense of, like, yes, of course everyone's an unreliable narrator, because we are in the realm of the emotions. We're in the realm of feelings here. It's like, of course everyone's an unreliable narrator. Everyone only has their own perspective to speak from, right? And Blitz has clearly hurt a lot of people. He's done this because he hates himself, right? He has done this because he thinks that's the only thing he ever can do, because he doesn't allow himself to conceptualize the idea that there's a better way to be. And every single time he gets close to a possibility, to the chance of reconciling, of, like, reaching out, of being vulnerable, every time, like, we see him over and over again go to anger. Right? Go to anger, go to confrontation, go to a fight. And it's, yeah, like, and that's nasty, right? That's painful. And it's not a surprise to me that, like, it's, like, that Blitz has to learn the lesson many, many times before it begins to stick. Because clearly he does. Because that, again, is, like, it'd be nice if, like, just, oh, I realize now that I am damaged, and that, like, this is what my damage does. Like, it'd be nice if just intellectually understanding it made it go away, right? It would be nice if just, like, learning about it and sort of, in turn, like, writing down a list of all the things that are wrong with you, and kind of going, aha, I now have a list of all the things that are wrong with me, and therefore, fixed it. There we go. It's gone now. It's done. Whoa, cool. We have written down the problems, and I have written down, here's the list of the things that are solutions to the problems, and therefore the problem is gone, right? Not how it works. Not how it goes, unfortunately. It's, you have to learn the lessons many times, often. And internalizing the things you know intellectually is that, like, because we are chemistry and meat and electrical impulses, it takes a while, right? So you can come into a relationship with a full understanding of all of your damage and all of the ways that you're likely to hurt another person, fully intending to avoid all of them, to work on everything and get everything right, and you still fuck it up. Like, you still fall back into old habits. You still, like, when something confronts you, when something discomforts you, when something angers you, when something touches on one of your triggers or your damage, you can still fall right back into it and repeat all of the old patterns because those are comfortable, right? Like, because that's what your reflexes are used to. And cause all the same damage, and then look at yourself in the mirror and go, what the fuck am I doing? Like, like, I was supposed to have known this. Like, I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew that. I saw it. I had the list. I have thought all of this through. I have talked all of this through, right? I knew the right thing to do, and I didn't do it. Why the fuck didn't I do it? And it's like, because that's not, like, because sometimes you fuck up again, right? And you're gonna fuck up again for the rest of your life. You are doomed to be imperfect. But it's not about getting it right. It's about getting it just a little more right next time. It's about having a few more tools in your toolbox next time. Right? None of which justifies anything. Like, it's not, Blitz is damaged. He doesn't know what, like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that there's some small beanification of poor Blitz. Like, oh, Blitz has so much damage and his father was so abusive and he's like, he's been a bad, you know, oh my god, he's trauma, and like, well, how is he supposed to? And like, no, yeah, like, no, but he's still responsible for being better. And it's the same thing with Stolas, right? Like, it's, for Stolas, we understand completely why Stolas is bad at handling a relationship with someone, like Blitz, why Stolas has these unrealistic romantic expectations, why he's so imperious, why he makes these unilateral decisions, why his privilege informs the way that he approaches the relationship. We understand that. And also, he's an adult. Right? He's responsible for his own mistakes as well, right? And you can be sympathetic towards that. You can be understanding towards that without being like, oh, well, therefore that's okay then. Right? Without being, well, therefore, like, there should be no consequences, or therefore you don't have to change. Right? No, he does have to change. In the same way that anyone does. I think people baby Stolas a lot. I can imagine, like, because Stolas is a little baby gay, right? Like, he is. Like, one of Stolas' big, like, again, like I said, if Stolas had been a more experienced person, right? If he had been in more relationships, if he had had more time, he probably would have seen the red flags on Blitz a lot more clearly, right? Because he would have, oh, right, no, I've seen these red flags before. Again, it's that thing about, he would have had to learn that lesson already. And then he would never have pursued a relationship with Blitz. And then none of this would ever have happened because Stolas would have known that this was gonna end up badly for both of them. Right? So, like, I can imagine people babying Stolas a little bit about it, but it's like, yeah, but he's an adult, so, you know, do you think they still have a chance? Of course they do. It's a story, it's fiction. Like, the writers can just invent it. Like, it's, I know I'm sort of talking about them a lot in, like, the terms of real people, but these are fictional characters. This is a story. An angel could descend from heaven tomorrow, snap their fingers, and both of their issues would be fixed, and then they're together forever. Like, that would be bad writing, I think, but it's a story. Of course they have a chance. It's whatever the writer wants to have happen that's going to happen. As real people? Oh, God, no. No. If these two were real people, my advice to both of them would be to get the fuck away from each other. If these were real people, I would tell Blitz to go to a lot of therapy for a long time before he tries to get into a romantic relationship again, because clearly he has a lot of damage that needs to be worked on before he can do this, right? Same thing for Stolas. Like, after what he's been through with Stella, probably this boy, instead of jumping like 2 feet first immediately into the arms of the first, like, on the first other person he thinks is showing him any kind of affection, and say, fix me, Blitz, fix all of my problems, right? Instead of doing that, he should probably go to therapy, so he can become a more well-rounded person, be more conscious of what he wants and how he wants to pursue it, and then he can go out and try to date, right? If they were real people, no, fuck no, Jesus Christ. What, are you kidding me? No. But they're not. They're fictional characters, which is why we can sit here and enjoy watching these two dipshits hurt each other really, really badly, right? Like, cause each other all kinds of pain, because it's not real. Because it's not real. Like, no one's actually getting hurt. No one's actually taking damage. That's why it's fun. If these were real people, I would be like, no, shit. Like, this doesn't need to be in a book or a TV show. This needs, like, no. Season 3 will be named Helluva Therapy. But that wouldn't be so good. Like, I think maybe having a couple of therapy episodes of the show at some point, maybe that could be interesting. Like a therapist who knows what the fuck they're doing, sort of forcing them to come to terms with their flaws. That could be interesting as a piece of character work. But I don't want this, like, if this series just devolves into like a series of like constant therapy for both of these characters, like laying out their issues, and it's like, oh yes, this is why you behave this way. It's like, no. I don't think that would be good. Like, this is an odd thing to jump to, but like the God of War DLC, right? God of War Ragnarok DLC, where has like a DLC epilogue thing where Kratos like has this little roguelike thing where Kratos like essentially goes through therapy with for a lot of his issues, and like talks through them in a very, with Tyr, right? Like talks through them specifically in a very direct way. And like, it's not terrible. Like, it's all like, that squares psychologically with who the character is, but it's also not a very interesting way to explore the character. Because it's just that it's the characters like stating their issues and stating the problems in very, very plain language and just kind of talking through it. And it's like, no, yeah, but this story was kind of better when we saw these characters acting out their emotional journey rather than simply like talking their way through it, right? And that's the same way here. It's like, yeah, no, like, I wouldn't mind if there was a therapy episode here or there with these characters, like, not in the sense of them necessarily sitting down with a therapist, but like them like really getting into the nitty-gritty of talking through their issues. That could be interesting. But what would be much more interesting to me is like shit like what happened in Truth Seekers, right? Like, where we get like these really weird, ambiguous insights into their psychological landscape, right? That's much more interesting to me. Like, that's more meaty to dive into and interpret and like relate to. Because like that, I think art is better at that, right? You're gonna love Ghost Fuckers in October? I don't know what that means. It's an episode title. Okay, right. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like, watch the trailer? I don't think I will, no. I want to be surprised. But no, yeah, like this, yep, like... This was a solid episode, I think. Like, and nicely, like nicely centered on the two of them, right? Like, the two of them there's just this one A-plot. Fully the focus of the episode. Like, no Moxie, Millie, Luna, no nothing, no anything else. Just like a full singular like follow through of what happened at the end of the last episode. I do hope that I would like to see Moxie and Millie again. I think in terms of pacing out the season, I don't know exactly how they're going to handle it, but at some point there does need to be a break from this with someone or something else getting the spotlight. I would like Stolas to get an episode where he just gets to do stuff outside of wallowing in his relationship with Blitz, to give him a break so that we can return to it, right? That's a lot of smiles. Like, it would be nice, for example, to have, I would like to have another Octavia episode with him. Because one thing I'm very curious about is, how does Octavia relate to Stella? What is Stella like as a mother? Right? Like, what is that relationship like? Because that, again, like, because Stella, again, that's my read on her, right? Is that she's a very childish person. She's a person who's very much stuck in a state of arrested development because she has never had to do or be anything or expected to be anything other than a shit-ass garbage spoiled princess queen bitch of the universe, right? Like, that's the only thing she's been raised to be. And the reason she's been raised to be that way seems to be because that makes her easier to manipulate, right? Like, that makes her easy for her brother to manipulate, for the Ars Goetia family to control. And I wonder what that makes of her as a mother, right? Like, how does she relate to her daughter at that point? Because Octavia is, like, very much a daddy's girl at the moment, understandably. And I wonder how she relates to her mom, right? Like, I wonder what she's taking from her relationship with her mom and how much her mom actually cares about her. Because, like, Stella probably has a consciousness that she needs Octavia as, like, the replacement heir, is sort of like the source of her value to the family, right? And that can get ugly real quick. Like, would Stella even have the tools to be anything other than, you know? I'm curious about that. Like, I'm curious about how Stella relates to Octavia, especially. And I wouldn't mind an Octavia-centered episode where we get to see what her daily life is like the split custody between dad and mom, right? That would be interesting. Because that would give us a little bit more insight into the both of them. I think Stella's going to be the stereotypically cool mom. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like, if Stella actually, like, wants to love Octavia, right? Like, has this sense in her head that she wants to be a half-decent mom to her. What would be the tools that she has available to try and do that? Well, probably just trying to be her best pal, right? Like, trying to be her cool girl friend, like, buying her things, taking her places. That's an entirely valid read. Like, that might be the only tools that Stella has to try and pursue that kind of thing. You didn't look at the images of Blitz in the song when Stolas spins around. Yes, I did. I didn't comment on them, but I did look at them. What do you think Blitz needs to do to overcome his self-hatred? How would you write it? I mean, it's... that's two different questions. Like, what does he actually need to do? Therapy. Go to therapy a lot. Like, find a therapist who can handle you. Like, who's capable of throwing down with you when you reach for the fight all the time, who's capable of ignoring all the provocation that he's going to be doing. How would I write it, though? Well, kind of like this. Like, you're looking at it. Like, this seems like a decent way to write it. Like, he's being confronted with the consequences of his actions, right? Like, he's being confronted with the fact that, like, he has hurt a lot of people, and he has hurt them, as Stolas says, because they cared about him. He's been confronted with evidence that his idea of himself as something that could not possibly be worth giving a shit about is wrong. Because this many people clearly did give a shit about their relationships with him, right? And he has to sit with that and process that. And that's probably going to come in the form of a bunch of acting out. And a bunch of, like, getting angry and resentful and, like, vacillating between feeling bad and being righteously angry, like denial and bargaining. And then from there, what then? Well, given that it's fiction, I would not be surprised if an opportunity for Stolas and Blitz to reconcile comes in the form of like another attack by Striker. Like that we do the rule of threes on that one, right? That is like, first we have Striker trying to assassinate Stolas, fails, gets stopped by Blitz. Then we have Striker attempting to assassinate Stolas, fails, gets stopped by Millie and Moxie. Then the third one is like, maybe that's Striker again, like much in the same, because that's the same way they handled it with Fizz and Blitz, right? It's like, how we get Fizz and Blitz to sort of get in a room, talk to each other, parse out their feelings. Well, put them in mortal peril together, like have a big fight, right? And that's when like they finally are in a space that's emotionally volatile and fraught enough that Blitz can get in his feelings and express himself and like actually say something to Fizz, rather than just slinging mutual insults at one another the whole time. I would imagine that would be the way that they could play it with this as well. Like that structure could recur. That like Striker kidnaps Stolas again or is trying to kill him, and then Blitz like either that. The interesting reversal would be if Striker like decided to try and get revenge on Blitz and Stolas is the one who stops him. Because then we'd be doing the rule of threes, but we would also be doing the rule of reversal, right? Like that it starts with Blitz saving Stolas from Striker, then Stolas saving Blitz from Striker. That would be an interesting way to sort of turn that around. And that would also put Blitz in a vulnerable position, right? And it would kind of force the issue for the both of them. Like, imagine if Blitz takes a mortal wound, right? Like, something happens with Striker, Blitz takes a mortal wound, maybe trying to protect Stolas, and because he's fucking dying, like, the actual cold hand of death is closing around his neck, that he's finally able to speak truly and from the heart. And then, like, Stolas being there, hearing that, being able to receive it, like, also seeing Blitz dying in front of him, sort of coming to the realization, shit, I love this man more than anything, this little piece of shit motherfucker, like, I want to make this work, whatever it takes. I can't face the idea of a world that doesn't have him in it. Like, that would be a way to do it. That would be a way to, like, to force these two characters to come to some kind of conclusion about their issues in a way that fits into, like, a simple 20 to 30 minutes, like, animated short narrative structure, right? That would be a way to do it. So like that's like, why would you say these things to me? To make you write fan fiction. I don't know, just to torment you. You know I like playing with your feelings. Right, like that would be the structure of that for me. Like that's the kind of structure that Helluva Boss has been using, right? The other thing is like, if they really want, like, fucking do a full, like, 90-minute feature film length thing, you could also do that, like, where you really sort of, like, dive into, like, a multi-act structure of, like, oh shit, like, I don't think they're gonna do that. That would be a lot of budget to commit, but you know. So what I'm getting, after you're done reacting to Helluva Boss, you'll start a series reacting to fanfiction? No, I will not. Mostly because fanfiction spaces have a tendency to be volatile, and I wouldn't want, like, even with explicit permission from a fanfic writer, I don't think I would want to put, like, thousands of eyeballs on their fanfic in that way, or single them out. Cause like I feel like that has the opportunity to, like, the risk of creating, like, some really toxic harassment situations that I don't wanna mess with. And also, like, as a reaction video, I don't think, like, having a TV show, and I know you've been looking at stills for, like, the past 2.5 hours of however long the fuck I've been talking about this. But having, like, a fanfic on screen while trying to react to it it doesn't make for as compelling viewing. You reading Stolas smut on a video for 4 hours. Maybe for Patreon. Yeah, sure. Like the Patreon, like put a goal on the Patreon. If I get to this many subscribers on Patreon, I'm not doing that for real. Just so that's not an act. You don't subscribe to the Patreon for that. That's not going to happen. I'm just playing with chat's feelings again. Oh, are you mad? There's some people seriously disappointed by now. Yeah, well, you know. I'm not sticking my dick into that rat's nest. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think let's I think I have exhausted what I think needs to be said about this. Like this, I can still, like, the musical sequence has so much cool shit going on. I do like the conceit of, like, pictures and mirrors, like, as a signifier of doubt, right? Like, he has all these pictures in his head of Blitz, like, rejecting him. And the shattering of that because he just can't help but hope for something, right? It's a very effective way to, like, to get at, like, the difficulty of trying to deal with that kind of romantic attachment. Another reason why I'm glad to be aromantic, right, is, like, I don't have to go into the mind palace that is full of, like, the shattered images of, like, the ex who hurt me real bad and scream about why. It's like, no, I know. Yeah, I know I'm not in love with him. It's like, knew that from day one. No worries for me. I have entirely different neuroses. I have different and much better neuroses that are cooler and better and make me more interesting and smart and sophisticated person. No, I don't. I have different neuroses. No, I have the mind palace full of the shattered images of, like, people I have hurt and who have hurt me, and all of my doubts and fears about how that relationship went. It's just they're not motivated by romantic attachment. It's other things. But it's like, again, this is for a romantic connection, right? Like, this is in the spirit of romance. But this is a thing of, like, I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like to sort of, like, to replay scenes over and over and over again in your head. And, like, sort of obsess over what if, right? Like, did I fuck this up? Did I do something wrong? Did I think the wrong way through it? Like, did I misread a signal here? Like, that's a universal experience, I think. And it's like, this fucking... I talked about the fire enough already, but using this as a high note... It's not subtle, but it rules. And a lovely way also to transition back, right? Like, to transition back from Stolas' mind palace to back on stage at the party. And I also do like, this is another thing, I do like Stolas sings this song and does a really good job at the party, and that's why he gets hit on. Like, that's why he ends up, well, hopefully getting laid. That would be nice for him. Because, like, the boy needs those experiences. That's another thing, right? Like, before Stolas is ready to be in a relationship with someone like Blitz, he should probably have experiences with other people. Like, at some point. Like, he should... like, before he's ready to really, like, to be capable of loving Blitz, for that matter, probably good for him to go out and have some other shit happen to him, right? To understand what a relationship is outside of his romantic ideal of what it could be with him, right? Reminder that Stolas has no friends. You didn't need to do him like that. You're not wrong. But, like, wow. What a way to burn the poor guy. But yeah, he doesn't have a social circle, right? He doesn't really have other people that he can call that much. Because all of his social circle is with the Arsh Goetia, and that must be incredibly lonely and isolating. Which is another thing of, like, Stolas also made Blitz responsible for being his social circle, right? Which is like, again, which is one of the ways in which he put like unfair expectations on Blitz, right? It's like he had been in this abusive shit space for so long, and Blitz became his way out of that, like his hope, his dream of a way out of that, and also like literally his only social circles. Literally the only person who he invested any part of his emotionality into besides his daughter, and that's not a healthy position to be in either, right? It's like, yeah, Blitz should definitely have been a better friend to him besides being a better partner. And also, like, of course Blitz wasn't capable of doing that for Stolas. Of course he wasn't. Like, you can't be someone else's only lifeline. That's a really, really hard position to be in, right? And to the point of, like, we know that Stolas is on probably some kind of antidepressants, right? Like, they haven't floated it, but, like, he did do a joke in the song, right? About, like, if this doesn't go right, I'll die alone, right? That's how much he's putting on Blitz, right? Like, if I can't be with Blitz, then I'm going to die alone. Like, those are the emotional stakes that he created for the relationship from the start. And Blitz never agreed to that, right? Like, that Blitz never got into it for that, right? And it's not a fair pressure to put on a partner, right? It isn't. Like, it's painful. It's a hard fucking thing to handle. I have been someone's only emotional linchpin before in my life, and I never want to do that again. Like, I never want to do that again, because I do have a life myself, you know? And again, like, Stolas, how was he supposed to, like, what else was he supposed to do with the situation he was in? But still, you know, like, Stolas's lack of comprehension of his class position relative to Blitz. Like, Stolas is so aggrieved and offended when Blitz goes, well, you're a prince. You're a member of the Ars Goetia, right? Like our class positions are so different. Stolas is very offended at that, but, like, he maybe should also listen to it and sort of understand that, like, hey, that's a barrier that you have to navigate, Stolas. Like, that's a difference in position and power that you have to learn to take into account in your relationships. Because you can't just decide to opt out of that because you hate them. Right. Anyway, fuck it. We're going in circles here. I was gonna call this one. Gonna do Antarctic, and then I don't know, sleep forever, probably. I think I'm gonna go do some work, actually. But say goodbye to YouTube, everyone. Yeah, bye.